Is there any team with more hype surrounding them than the Cleveland Browns in 2021? We are going through their schedule breakdown today. I'm your host, Dalton Miller, joined as always by Ian Cummings. And is there much more to talk about on this schedule after week one? I mean, they're playing the Chiefs in week one. That is their most difficult game. It might be their defining game of the season. And, it's the one that I want to watch the most. But we got to start off with it in week one. That is the toughest game, right?
That was what I chose.
It's
For
the
my
Chiefs.
money.
It's
For
at the
my
Chiefs
money.
in Kansas City. It
Yeah,
doesn't get much more difficult than Arrowhead Stadium against
exactly.
the maybe best team in the NFL.
Yeah, for my money, this might as well be the AFC Championship game. All right. And hey, Bills fans, if you're watching this, I love the Bills too, but I think there's three or four teams you can confidently, you can say, these teams could be contenders legitimately to make the AFC Championship. And you have two of those teams in this game. So I think that this is going to be a very exciting one. I had it as the toughest game and the must-watch game for this season because obviously in the playoffs, we saw the Browns took the Chiefs to the wire and almost beat them and almost made it to that championship game. And they could have been one step away from the Super Bowl. Didn't fall their way, but you can bet they're going to be looking for revenge in this one. And they have the firepower to do it. They have one of the best rosters in the league. They have Baker Mayfield coming back year two. Kevin Stefanski. I'm optimistic, but the Chiefs have a way of killing optimism. So we'll see. But this is definitely one you have to watch, and it's the toughest one on the schedule.
Yeah, this is the toughest game of the season for them. And listen, this year it's put up or shut up, honestly, for the Cleveland Browns. We've been kind of hyping them up for 2 or 3 years now. They've really gotten a ton of assets and put a lot of assets into this football team. They have a strength of schedule that you guys just saw is tied for 29th. They have to win football games this year. And obviously, the strength of schedule is based off of Vegas projections this year. Those could definitely change throughout the year. But when you just go down the schedule, there's a lot of very winnable football games on that schedule. For me, the Chiefs are the most difficult one. For me, the one that I want to watch the most is going to be the Packers on Christmas Day. Saturday, 4:30 game on Fox. That one to me, if Aaron Rodgers, again, the caveat that we must always get to when we talk about the Packers, that's if Aaron Rodgers is around. I'll give a second game just in case he's not. In case he is not, it's going to be versus the Ravens after the bye week. It's going to be the big one for me because that's who I just honestly think they're going to be fighting for the division.
Yeah, honestly, I think when you look at must-watch games again and defining games and whatever you want to call them, I mean, those interdivisional or intra-divisional rivalries. I mean, you look at the Browns and the Steelers, the Browns and the Ravens. The AFC North is one of the most hotly contested divisions every year. And I mean, not necessarily by record all the time, but sometimes it is. And when it is, I mean, these guys get heated. All right. It's always fun to watch. They get heated. They get contested. So I love to watch these games. And Pittsburgh got blown out by the Browns in the playoffs last year. So looking at that Week 17 game at Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin, even though that Steelers roster isn't quite where we're accustomed to seeing it, I think they can still be in contention there. And that's going to be a big one for them if they're trying to play for position. If you can knock off the Browns at the same time in one fell swoop, you do that too. And then the Ravens, too, have a very good secondary, have an offense that's explosive and has weapons. I mean, that's another one to watch as well.
Man, the AFC North is just built different. It is. It's the best division in football. That I'm not saying that they have the best teams in football. I'm saying that is the best division in football, and it's because of the way that they play the game. It is very, very old school. These guys, the entire division, the fans, everybody, it's cold, it's miserable, they all play outside, they hate each other. And that is what makes football at the NFL level so much fun. Actually, that's what makes college football so good because of the rivalries, because these schools, these teams hate each other. And this is one of the divisions in the NFL where they do still truly hate each other down to their very core. For me, the defining game of the season is a little bit earlier. I think the defining game of the season is at the Chargers because this is a team, the Chargers, another team that we're hyping up like crazy. And this goes a little bit off because defining games, there's a bunch of divisional games that they could play a little bit later. They have to, absolutely have to go to Los Angeles and win that football game. They cannot lose to a team that they are better than. And honestly, the Chargers, for me, remind me a lot of the Browns from a couple of years ago. Like, they look like that team that is up and coming. I think that the Browns have solidified themselves as being there at this point, and they have to win that football game.
Yeah, I agree. That's another one to watch too. I mean, you look at Justin Herbert coming into year 2, won Offensive Rookie of the Year, was one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I mean, he was way better. Like, I'll take the heat. I overthought him as a draft prospect because he was a little volatile, but you also have to think about the context, the offense he's playing in. How does he project into a better one? And obviously, he projected very well. He really knocked it out of the park. He's got more weapons. He has Brandon Staley. He has a new staff. So that'll be interesting. But we've said before, we said in the Chargers video, this is a team that is coming up. Might not be at the point, at the pinnacle quite yet, but they are a team that can play spoiler to a better team like the Browns. So as you said, I do think this is one. You look at a lot of the games in that range, Minnesota, the Chargers, the Cardinals, the Broncos, a lot of these are not bad teams and teams that could maybe challenge Cleveland. It's up to Cleveland to take care of business, and they can if they keep the ball in their court. But these are a lot of games where, not necessarily a cupcake schedule. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge. They have some challenging aspects. So that entire frame, if you're the Browns, you got to show you're the better team. You got to take authority in that stretch.
Listen, I might live in Dallas, Texas, but I grew up in the AFC North, so I get fired up when I talk about this division. Get fired up in the comments. Let us know, what do you think the toughest game for the Cleveland Browns is in 2021? What do you guys believe is the defining game in their 2021 season? And what game are you guys going to sit down and have a couple cold ones too? Let us know in the comments.